CNN did something that is presumably good. They tried to tackle the issue of white anxiety and address whether or not it exists in regards to, we hear a lot about the Hispanic population is going higher and is becoming a larger and larger portion of the American population. And now white Americans, some are acting like a racially oppressed majority. Fair question to ask, okay? Whether or not you agree with the results, let's discuss it. Let's ask a variety of different sources how they feel about the possibility that the whites may not be the majority X number of years from now. I'm up for asking any question if there's an honest attempt to look for an answer, okay? So this could have been interesting and worthwhile. It went down the tubes quick. The first thing that CNN did was devote a ton of space to giving people like political cesspools James Edwards time to speak, VDare's Peter Brimlow. These are hate group leaders. They are brought on to CNN to basically spew venom as though their ideas are considering in the first place. Not a single word devoted to saying, you know, these are white supremacist, nationalist racists, right? That's who is being brought on to talk about this. An opportunity to have a reasonable discussion about something that we know is happening in the U.S. There is a change in tide, and population shifts are having Hispanic Americans as a growing portion of the population. But you don't bring on James Edwards and Peter Brimlow. And the most glaring problem here is something we've been talking about for a while, Lewis. It's this on the one hand, on the other hand, right? I mean, in other words, the Southern Poverty Law Center says that these individuals run hate groups, and CNN brings them on to comment on white anxiety. And it's two sides, both giving us their opinions. I understand the need for balance. Most of the times that we hear about balance in media, there is actually no balance. But giving equal footing to any view is a disservice to those who are consuming the media.
Or could this just be laziness? I mean, they need someone to talk about an issue that clearly these men, for them, it's at the forefront of everything they do. I mean, is that why they pick these people?
You know, I don't know if that's the motivation behind it. I really would hope not. It just
that's all I
doesn't
can
make
think
sense
of.
to
I
me.
mean, it doesn't seem like something CNN normally does.
Any fair-minded look at the public statements by these individuals would show that they espouse the view that minorities are inferior to white people.
Right.
I mean, it's what it is. And the recent Public Religion Research Institute found that 44% of Americans surveyed identify discrimination against whites as being just as big as bigotry aimed at blacks and other minorities. Okay? Who overwhelmingly represents those views? You know, I don't even need to read the list, Lewis, right?
I don't think so.
But I will, because I want to go on the record with it. The Tea Party overwhelmingly holds that view. Republicans overwhelmingly hold that view. White evangelicals overwhelmingly hold that view. The majority of that view comes from very specific constituents. And the U.S. Census Bureau projections are that whites will become a minority in 2050. We are, as this continues to happen, Lewis, and we've already seen it from Pat Buchanan, the Hispanic takeover of America, we'd better be ready for an incredible scaling up of racist rhetoric, xenophobic rhetoric. Barack Obama being elected has already brought a ton of it out into the light. Conservative talk show host Rush Limbaugh argued in a radio show that Republicans are an oppressed minority in need of a civil rights movement because its members willingly sit in the back of the bus and are afraid of the fire hoses and the dogs. Glenn Beck led a march on Washington, D.C., attended primarily by white people, to, quote, restore honor. This was after calling President Obama someone with a deep-seated hatred for white people and white culture. On the one hand, on the other hand, false equivalency thing the media is doing absolutely has to end, Lewis. I don't know how else to say it.
Nor do I.